first glance, Evening, folks. Hope you're having a good day. Hope things are going well. Let's turn that down a bit, shall we? There we go. How are you all doing? Relics of War, nice to see you, man. Nice to see you. Sindri, hello. Zacharias, Wade, what's up? How you dude? Ed, as always. How's it going, man? Wendell, Matthias, thank you for saying that, dude. Michigan Yankee, howdy from the States. I'd never know by your name. From Birken, how's it going, man? How is everybody? It's Sunday, which means we're chilling out together. I don't think we'll be doing any gaming today. I think it's going to be pure 40k talk. 40k lore talk. Let's talk hobby. Let's talk hobby. So for a long time, I've been thinking of doing an Exile verse on the channel, simply because I keep getting asked about it. Because back in the day, I did a series talking about lore in 40k and what I would do differently. And people kind of, well, some people thought I was insane and thought my ideas were insane, but some people really liked it. So it was kind of one of those, you know what I mean? It was one of those where we had tons of people who really liked it and said, hey dude, you should do like an Exile verse sort of a thing, like a Daunian heresy sort of a thing. And for a long time that sat in the back of my mind until the other week, for another week in sequence, we were all talking about lore on the stream, and I thought, do you know what, why don't I do that video, but I do it with you guys on stream? Do you know what I mean? Rather than actually writing a full script, you know, because it takes a long time. That's why I haven't done any Exileverse videos. It takes a long time. Like, for instance, right now, I'm doing an Exiled Blades video for the custom chapter for the channel. And I am at now, let me just see how many words the script is right now. Because it's insane. Let me just see how long it is right now. We are at 6,000 words, just shy. 6,000 words. 18 pages, 6,000 words. And we're not finished. We've got quite a while to go. So that video is going to be a couple of hours long, it looks like. So I couldn't do this every single week. But then I thought, why don't we do it unscripted, and so we can share ideas on different parts of the Exileverse, and we'll build it out from there. And we'll release them once a week, you know? But what the Exileverse looks like, what we would do with the setting if it was given over to us, you know? Thank you, Damned Legion, for becoming a member. Thank you very much, man. Awesome creator, keep up the great work. Thank you very much. So yeah, we'll be doing that. We're going to actually do that. We're going to do that together. And today's topic is the Emperor of Mankind. So, I'm not going to go in straight away. I'm going to give yourselves, like, about 7:30, we'll jump right into that and we'll get talking between each other. If you guys have an issue with me recording that and putting it online, you don't want your names out there, fair enough. Either stay quiet in the chat, or, you know, if you do say something, just preface it with, you know, please don't read out my name, but here is my opinion, and I'll make up a name for you, alright? In the chat. It's all about getting your ideas out there as well as mine. I have a few ideas about the Emperor, and about what we're going to do. The few things we're going to cover is the Emperor's origins, right? We're going to talk about the Emperor's origins. We're going to go into the Unification Wars, what we think should have happened there, and then we're going to go on to the Imperium at large, his creation of the primarchs, Great Crusade, Horus heresy, and then onwards to the modern setting of 40k, right? We'll do it in chronological order of what we would change and what we would do if it was left up to us. I think that's a good idea. The Exileverse you started to build last year was pretty cool. I thought you had already planned on expanding it into its own thing. Yeah, I did. But it's just too much work, man. Like, it's too much work. Like, I'd be here forever. You know. If I had the time, yeah, definitely. I wouldn't bother me at all, but yeah, it's just really, really, really difficult. We'll get there, though. I think after that, we might do legions, and legions into chapters. So we might do broad. Next week, we'll do broad Space Marines and how that actually works in the Imperium going forward. And then we'll do legion by legion, is what we'll do. Having issues finding the right 40k army for me. I've collected Death Guard for a bit now, but most of the Chaos players at my local game store play Death Guard, and I feel like I'm just one of the pack. Yeah, that can happen, dude. That can happen. That can happen. Yeah. I would like to be more individual. I like the look of the standard Chaos Space Marines. Okay? I'm just worried about getting into a new army and not liking it again. Would love some advice from Bubba Gord. Alright. First of all, if you like an army, dude, just do it. I honestly cannot tell you enough how much you really do need to back yourself and just say, do you know what? You know, everyone's doing Death Guard, but I'm going to do them differently. You know, the key things, Bubba Gord, what do you like about the Death Guard? If you like that they're really filled with pus and things, take that to the extreme. So your dudes look different to everybody else's. Really convert them. Get in there. If you like the fact that they were like one of the most brilliant legions in the Horus heresy, then do a pre-corruption force of Death Guard. You probably couldn't do a loyalist Death Guard force because there weren't very many of them. You know, there really weren't very many of loyalist Death Guard. So, yeah, 30k Death Guard painting style is really easy. It's not hard at all, and yeah, one of the best armies to paint actually. 30k Death Guard. So it depends on what you like the Death Guard for, but whatever it is, lean into it, and don't give up. Like don't just because everybody else is doing Death Guard, do them differently then. But if you like Death Guard, don't let the fact that other people collect them put you off from collecting them. That's not how it should work. You know what I mean? Maybe you can do uncorrupted Death Guard with uncorrupted, like, you know, Chaos Space Marines. That'd be pretty cool. You know? But don't let the fact that everybody else does the same army turn you off from doing what you want to do. That's just not how this should work. At all. You know? I get the want to do something that you want to do and that is yours and yours alone. I get that. And as a Grey Knight player, I'm often quite lucky in the fact that there aren't many other Grey Knight players around me. So, you know. But at the same time, I think if I liked Grey Knights and everybody else liked them too, I'd still collect them. You know. Heh. Winter 9 says we have a lot of Space Marine players, Dark Angels, in our local scene. Yeah, we'll get into that in a minute, Dustpaw. Yeah, good idea. Good idea. How about the Emperor being the last creation of the Old Ones? Good idea. Absolutely. How about the Legion of the Damned lore explore? Yeah, we'll do that. We could do that today, actually. Because it's been thought of that Legion of the Damned are Imperial demons, right? So we could cover that. Yeah. Let me just get a picture of the Emperor up here so we can know who we're talking about. Alright. Here he is. I like this piece of artwork, dude. Like, this is cool. I like it more because it actually has... It makes the Emperor look really ethereal, and so you don't really know what's there and what isn't. I really like that. It's cool. Right, we'll get into it in a second. I know people have got really good ideas in the chat. I'm liking it. Alrighty. Whenever you guys are ready, we'll jump in. So I think I'm just going to start, to be honest. Because at the end of the day, it's only the Emperor, right? How long can we really be here for? He says. Alright. Let's jump in. Let's invite the people from YouTube. Hello, people on YouTube, if you're watching this back. So a little while ago, as I said to chat a little bit earlier, we were talking about an exile verse and what we would do with Warhammer 40,000 if we were in charge of its myriad, well, lore bits. It's myriad pieces of lore and storytelling, and I thought it'd be good for us to do this as a community because these videos take a hell of a long time to put together as a script. I remember the old Space Wolf videos, the Dark Angels videos from back in the day, they took days to do because you had to write a script that was huge and then record it and record it and record it, and it just went on forever. I don't have that much time. So I thought instead of me just doing a script and telling you about certain things that I want 40k to be, why don't I brainstorm it live with chat and come up with our own ideas on what we think the Exile verse should be in terms of Warhammer 40,000. And the first person we're going to talk about, obviously, is the Emperor. And I'd like to do this in chronological order with the creation of the Emperor. So that's come out quite a few times, hasn't it? That the creation of the Emperor was, you know, several different mystics from back in the day, from back in ancient Terra, on ancient Earth, who took their own lives and reformed themselves in the warp into this one super being. I think that's kind of dumb. I don't know about you. I think that's kind of silly, in all honesty. I don't think we should be heading down that route. Lewitin does an amazing video on this, where he talks about, you know, how unrealistic it is for these, you know, for these shaman to be throwing their souls back into the warp and recongealing into one mortal being. Well, how do they know they're going to come back? Like, how are they finding each other in the warp when it's such a dangerous place to be? I don't understand that at all, you know? If you have any ideas on what we should do with the Emperor right now at the start, head on into the chat and tell me, because I've got a few ideas myself. Somebody, who was it before, who said about the old ones? That was a good idea. It was Dustpaw. So Dustpaw, how about the Emperor being the last creation of the old ones? That is a really, really good point. One thing we generally don't get in 40k is the old ones themselves. But here's the thing. I've never actually been a big Old Ones fan, because I think they lean a bit too far into the Warhammer Old World direction. Don't get me wrong, I love the Old World, love me a bit of that. But at the same time, I do think sometimes, 40k just being Warhammer Old World in space can be a thing. And I'd like to try and get away from that, Alex Penrod says, just a small town boy living in a lonely void. Exactly. That's Big E. That's Big E for you. How would you feel about the Emperor just being unexplained? How would you feel about that? The Emperor's just unexplained in the Exile verse. So, the Emperor's there in 40k, he's there in 30k, and he has a lot of different origin stories, but there's not one that really sticks. Do you know what I'm saying? The Emperor being the 21st Primarch. Ad Gil, man, you've gotta explain that one. Emperor being the 21st Primarch, I don't get that. You need to expand on that. Chaos Druid says, Big E should always remain a mysterious being. It's one of those fun unexplained things in 40k, including where did humanity even come from? Is he a man, a warp being, a creation? Who knows? Well, humanity was created by the Old Ones in 40k. We know that for sure. But hey, it's that could also be untrue, I also think we need to be careful. I know I said I'd like him to remain a mystery, but we do need to be careful here. Because there is a reason why the Alpha Legion kind of exhaust everybody. The Alpha Legion exhaust everybody because there are no clear answers. You can't get a grip on their story. A lot of people say that's the fun of the Alpha Legion, and to an extent, I agree with you. But if we start using Alpha Legion like explaining tactics for big things in the setting like Big E, like the Emperor, we may be falling apart and losing the audience. Do you know what I mean? But I do agree it should be mysterious. I do agree. Michigan Yankee says, is he the last prophet that most Abrahamic religions believe that is still on his way? That's really interesting. Now, again, brilliant bit of lore building there for the actual real world. Could the Emperor be, the lore version, the in-universe version of the chosen one, of the second coming, right? Of all the Abrahamic religions, Christianity, Judaism, Islam, they all believe, there's a big guy coming back, the Son of God is coming back, and he's going to set the world right, and the rapture's going to happen. Maybe it's the Emperor. I think that's a really good idea, Michigan Yankee, but I think we have to be very careful. Very, very careful. Because even back in the day, 40k didn't want to step on religious toes because, it's a bit of a downer. Do you know what I mean? It's a bit of a downer. We want escapism here, so we don't want too much religious stuff in the setting, but I see what you're doing. I can see what you're doing there, yes. Zach says, his lore is so convoluted already, he is already unexplained. That is true, But instead of it just being a mess, Zach, hope you don't mind me calling you Zach, instead of it just, right now it's just a mess, right? The Emperor's, we don't know where he comes from, okay, but in my opinion, it's a mess. That's the only reason why we don't know. There are conflicting stories, it's very Alpha Legion-like at the moment, and I don't think that's a good storytelling mechanic. I think we should have in my mind, I'm going to pull out what I think we should do. Using all of your input here, right? For his origins, anyway. I actually think the Emperor should remain mysterious, but there should be dedicated people in the Imperium who look into where he came from. And there should be at least one person, like Malkador, who knows. Right? And maybe we have Malkador being, haunted by the fact that he knows who the Emperor was, right? He knows where he came from. Or the two lost Primarchs are lost because they can see the Emperor's true nature. And it drives one of them insane and makes the other one become a traitor. And then we don't explain it further. We don't explain anything further than that. Right? We use this piece of art as a reference. Is the Emperor even human? We don't know. Where does he come from? We don't know. But we bake it into the lore that we don't know. We don't have 95 different Thank you, Sam, for the £3. Really cool, man. We don't have built-in theories where, he could be a shaman baby. He could be an alien. He could be an old one. No. We let the reader imprint onto the Emperor what they want, because that's what the Emperor is. He is the exemplar. He is somebody that you put all of your wishes onto, right? He thinks that's the best way for him to be. So he's an incredibly powerful psyker. Yes. But where does he come from? I would have the Emperor tell you straight up in the books. I would have the Emperor say, it doesn't matter. Right? I'm here now. I would have him say, in a short story or a novel, right at the start of the Horus heresy of that book series, he will say, it doesn't matter where I come from. Maybe have a flashback of Horus talking to the Emperor early on, right? When he's just been found by the Emperor. And he asks him, Father, where are you from? And the Emperor says, it doesn't matter. I'm here now. Right? Maybe the universe determined that I should come. Has anyone ever seen Kingdom of Heaven? Right? One of the Atlanteans. Ooh, good idea, Traitor Guardsman. Has anyone seen Kingdom of Heaven? Right? Salah Hadin in Kingdom of Heaven says, he says, how well were the Muslims doing before I came? Or before God determined that I should come? The Emperor should have the same attitude towards humanity. Right? The Emperor thinks that the will of humanity has determined that he should arrive. And the Emperor should have no idea about his deepest past himself. And so he's gone, do you know what? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. So I'm pulling in all of your all of your ideas here. Here's one other thing that I'd like to do. And tell me what you think about in the comment section or in the chat. I'll read out some chat messages in a minute because some of them are really, really interesting. Here's the thing. What if the start of the Inquisition, right? The start of the Inquisition is formed not because of chaos, but because the Emperor doesn't know where he comes from. And so he charges several men and women and Malcador to form an inquisitive service to look into his own past and find out where he comes from. Because the Emperor doesn't know. Wouldn't that be cool? And maybe they, all of these theories that you're coming up with, he's an Atlantean, he's a shaman baby, he's one of the old ones. Maybe these can all be theories that the Ordo Imperator has come up with to explain where the Emperor comes from. And he's rejected them all. He's like, no, these don't sound familiar to me at all. They all could be true, or none of them could be true. I don't know. Find me answers. That'd make the Emperor so much more relatable, but still mysterious. That'd be cool. High Voltage says, I'll do some chats, shall I? I'll do some chats. System Error said, I was chatting to a mate the other day about how cool it would be if, after a massive assault on Terra, the Emperor gets corrupted by one of the Chaos Gods. Games Workshop would never have the balls to do it, though. No. And I'll be honest with you, System, I don't think they should either. I don't think that's a very good idea. You're tanking the entire setting for a nice big reveal that you can only do once, Matty says, just like the Men of Iron, the Emperor effectively rebelled against his creators, but he did so not by trying to destroy them, but by trying to rule them. Emperor therefore manipulated the three... Okay, cool. No, I like that. He manipulated the Dark Gods. Okay. So are you saying, Matty, that the Emperor is created by the Chaos Gods? But why? Why would they create the anathema? That's what he is to them, right? Boycott Warhammer says, well, I guess a big thing would be whether you're going to doing the modern explain everything trope or the old vague interpretations of the lore. Well, we're doing both, Boycott. We're doing both. Right? We're doing both. I think we should have the Emperor not know where he comes from, and it kind of scares him. He's like, I've got all this power, my earliest memories are of the civilization that came before Old Night. So the golden age of technology. That civilization is where the Emperor comes from. That's what I would do, right? That's where he comes from. And he's like, I know I was alive long before that. And every single bit of gene testing I've done on me says that I'm at least 30,000 years old. So what gives? Where did I come from? I don't know, right? That's what I would do. And then we'd have the Ordo Imperator, the first order of the Inquisition, and also the smallest one, because there's only 3 or 4 people in it. They look into it, and they come up with all of these theories that you guys are coming up with, right? And the Ordo Imperator can be a stand-in for the fans and their theories on where the Emperor comes from. And in the end, the Emperor kind of forgets about them and says, you know what? Fuck it, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I am what I am. You know, I'm here now and that's all that matters. And that means that when the Inquisition comes in during the Horus heresy, the foundation for it's already there. The Emperor just says, hey, Malcador, remember that Inquisition thing you were going to do? Yeah. Do that. We're going to do that. If Big E does not know where he comes from, how would Malcador know? I would say maybe have Malcador stumble across it. Or stumble across a theory he thinks is so intertwined and real that he just like, yeah, this has got to be it. Or have Malcador, right? I've got an idea. Why don't we have Malcador the Sigillite, right? Be almost as powerful as the Emperor and the only being who can see through to what he actually is. He sees past all of the facade. Do you know what I mean? He sees past all of that. And it horrifies him. And the 2 primarchs who go insane and are purged, or who are gotten rid of, those are primarchs that the Emperor uses Malcador's DNA in too. And so they can see his true nature as well. And it drives one of them insane and makes the other one turn traitor against the Emperor. That'd be cool. He could be an escaped and mostly purified Catan shard. That's cool, man. Dustpour, that's a good... Yeah, that sounds cool. I like that. Yeah. Then I'm assuming you're going for the removing perpetuals route, as they are a big part of the end of Horus Heresy now, and Ol and John know a lot. Yes, there are no perpetuals in the Exileverse. John Grammaticus does not exist in the Exileverse. Neither does Dan Abnett, but there we go. Yeah, the perpetuals are not a thing in the Exileverse. We're getting rid of those. You know? I know this is a democracy technically, but I'm dying on this hill, guys. We're not having Ol Pearson or John Grammaticus, or any of those. No Erda, no fucking whoever. No, none of those. None of those are going to be in our 40k. Alright? The Emperor may be a perpetual, but he's the only one. Okay? That's what we're doing. Perpetuals are silly. And I would say even Vulcan is not... we will get into this in future weeks, but Vulcan is not a perpetual. Vulcan is Wolverine. Vulcan can heal at an astonishing rate. An astonishing rate. But if he gets decapitated, then he's dead, right? You know, we make Vulcan... take away his plot armor, let Vulcan be badass. Let Vulcan be badass. You know, not just getting beaten by everybody because he can't die. The only problem with Ol Pearson as a perpetual, who is like 10,000 years older than Big E, he would remember when Big E first came to power. Exactly. Okay, yeah. The perpetuals opened so many cans of worms, it's not even funny. They were an idea that Dan Abnett thought was clever back in the day, and it wasn't. And we need to just sidestep that. The beauty of the Exileverse is that we can just take that and yeet it into the sun. Goodbye. No more perpetuals. That's gone. We're not doing that. Okay? That's gone. We're out with that. Vulcan is not a perpetual. He's badass. And he has a really high healing rate. That's what he is. He is a dragon in human form, dude. That's what Vulcan is, alright? That's where we are with him. I would be very tempted to rename them to the Space Dragons too, but I'm not going to do that because, you know, we're not in that week. That's another week. We'll get into that another week. Emperor this week. Yeah. So we've decided kind of on his origin story. That's cool. Let's move on into the unification of Terra, the unification wars. What kind of a figure do we think the Emperor is going to be? All right. What kind of a dude is he? How does he conquer Earth? Can we yeet out the Cabal at the same time, please? All of that's gone. Anything the Perpetuals even touch is gone. Like, so yeah, Cabal is gone. We get rid of that. All of it's gone. All of that's gone. What if Perpetuals lived longer instead of being hard to be killed? Matthias, okay, here, before we go anywhere else, right? We're going to go into the Unification Wars in a minute. But before we go anywhere else, the issue with the Emperor to me, okay? And the issue with there being so many Perpetuals and for them to live for a long time and to have known the Emperor when he was younger, the issue is that they make the Emperor less special. That's the issue I've got, right? They literally make the Emperor a bit less special. That's not forgivable in my eyes. They need to go. They need to go. It doesn't matter what form they're in. They could live for 10,000 years and that's it. I don't care. You make the Space Marines and the bloodline of the Emperor less special by having these nomarchs who are just these preachy, author, self-insert characters run around the setting. No, get rid of them. They're in the sun. They're gone, right? Fuck them. Okay. So, who is the Emperor in the Unification Wars to you guys? Okay. Dr. Rockwang says, let's make sure the Sensei and, yeah, hold that thought, Dr. Rockwang, about the Sensei and the Star Child. We'll get into that at the end of the episode, alright? So who is he when he takes over Earth? Oh, boycott Warhammer. May want to get a dock up of all the things you're chucking in the bin so we can work out, spiral out from there. Dude, I've already done that. I've already got a list of all the things not in. Yeah, Techno-Barbarian Wasteland. Alright, Matty says, Unification Wars. The Emperor is a manipulator. He manipulates other factions into weakening themselves, fighting each other, and then takes over by underhanded means. Like Palpatine in Star Wars. I like it, I like it. High Voltage says, how about he is just a regular leader who unites the tribes by crushing all who stand against him? Keep the genetic engineering stuff, just get rid of the fluff. Okay. Okay. I remember you said a while ago about the Emperor being a big gene scientist and him focusing more on that than actual warfare. I did. Alright. So, can you give an origin story for Graham von Karstein? No, I can't. Maybe one day. Thunder Warriors time, baby. Okay, yes, Thunder Warriors. So. I'm quite liking Matty's idea. Right? That this is a Palpatine-like leader. Maybe the Emperor at this stage is a very good fighter, but he's killable, you know? We need to get the crux of this now, right? The Emperor can be killed. He can be killed in battle. Okay? Absolutely he can. His psychic might is amazing, but if an Orc war boss punches his head off, he's dead. Right? So, with that being the case, he needs bodyguards. And so, yeah, he starts to experiment. He has, let's say, he has a lot of things left over from the Dark Age of technology. Yeah? The Emperor has a lot of things left over from the Dark Age of technology on Earth. And he's using those in the Himalayas to make Thunder Warriors, to make these proto-Space Marines. And he uses those to actually, you know, engineer the Custodes. And on each Custodes, he spends years. just carving them like a man of stone. Do you know what I mean? He takes the human genome and he warps the custodies into being. And at the start, there's only 3, because you can only make 3 custodies at the start, right? We can name them all if you want. We can name them all. But the Thunder Warriors are a step below that, and they are mass-produced. I like the fact that they're mass-produced. And I like, Ed said it there, techno-barbarians, right? So the Thunder Warriors should be techno-barbarians. I don't want to make them elegant. I really like what Games Workshop did with the Thunder Warriors. I like that they're really 90s. They're really 90s and really Blanchian. You know, that they should be really John Blanchian, these Thunder Warriors. Absolutely. Davis, Bobus, and Gary. Like how the Greek gods made humanity. Yes, minding back. Yes, very, 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 very true. Is John Spartan, the Demolition Man canon? Have a peachy day and be well. Cheers, man. He creates Thunder Warriors in secret, says Matty. Clones, like the clones in Star Wars. Meanwhile, he's gathering political power by playing off factions. It hits critical mass, and then he crowns himself Emperor. That's a good one. That's a good one. Fifth-dimensional abilities beyond our comprehension. Here's left field. The Emperor's a fifth-dimensional being, just screwing around in a unique universe. He's maybe like the Creator, or Tom Bombadil from Lord of the Rings. His abilities seem like magic, because they are. Oh, okay. Okay. A quick question, though. Are we dialing back the bombastic nature of 40k a little bit and making the Exileverse more grounded? I think the answer to that question, Zach, is not what I want to do right now, because I'd like to see where the Exileverse grows into, and we will answer that question in a few weeks when we look back at the Great Crusade and Horus Heresy and how it turned out. Do you know what I mean? Then we'll have a much bigger answer of where 40k is going to go. Do you know what I'm saying? But if I say it now, I'm kind of framing all of your ideas into that, and I don't want to do that. I want a raw section of ideas. Dustpour says, yes, Dark Age tech and even AI would make him seem all-powerful in a barbarian world. Yeah, because we are going to get to a certain stage of technology where you can't really discern it from magic, right? That's who the Emperor should be. He should be an amazingly powerful psychic, yes, but he should also be an incredible scientist. Absolutely. We need an actual Unification War tabletop campaign / models. I agree. If you're going to bring the Emperor back as a model, that's the way to do it. That is the way to do it. I want a Pan-Pacific Empire army, goddammit. I'd collect that. You can be bombastic and realistic. Just look at the Roman Empire, says Matty. Yeah, he's right. He's right. Perturabo84 says, Abraham and Noah the flood. Did the Emperor sacrifice one of the lost primarchs to the warp gods? Like God orders Abraham to sacrifice his son Isaac. Dude, we're going down that rabbit hole. Come back. Come back. Don't go down the rabbit hole. I always think of Mad Max style with the Thunder Warriors. Yes, Mad Max should be a thing that we do here. Alright. I guess we're settled on the Emperor being rather than being a battlefield general, even though he's fully capable of doing that, he becomes like a Palpatine figure behind the scenes in the Unification Wars, right? He creates the Thunder Warriors in secret. He creates his 3 custodies, and he goes out and conquers the world once he's played everybody off against each other, right? I like that. I like that a lot. Okay, so we've got the Unification Wars sorted out. So we've got the Emperor's origins and the Unification Wars done. We're there, right? Okay. Great Crusade time. Now, how do the Primarchs get split up from the Emperor? This has been a bone of contention for me for years. In all honesty. I honestly think this has been a massive bone of contention for me over the years. That we have, you know, a really dumb idea, and that's the Chaos Gods just opening up a portal and sucking them into the universe, okay? And then an even dumber idea of their mother casting them into the warp and essentially creating 40k. Thanks, bitch, right? This awful character that nobody liked. So, what are we doing with the primarchs? How are we getting them away from the Emperor so they can be found later? How do we do that? How do we do that? Either the chaos route or a random intern pressing the wrong button. That would be funny if a guy just like leant backwards and like, oh, what's that button? Oh, sorry. Oh my god. And then they just get, yeah. Dustpaw says they weren't stolen. They were sent away to prove themselves. Good idea. Good idea. Yep, Edward says Big E does it himself to test them and test humanity. Yes, Perturabo, we've done it. In 5 minutes, not even that. The Northern Exile community has fixed the Primarchs getting cast out of Terra. He's done it. The Emperor doesn't care about the Primarchs at this stage. Right? They are just tools to him. So he sends them on ships out into the universe, out into the galaxy, to crash land on set planets that he finds very interesting. So the Emperor, on each of these planets, has something that he needs to capture, that he knows is out there. It could be a Catan shard, where Ferrus Manus lands, you know what I mean? It could be vast amounts of adamantium, like the Night Lord's homeworld, right? Each of these homeworlds is a hellhole, but has something on it that he needs. So he can't send empires out there yet, but he sends his own sons with a heavy imprint of who he is to them, right? So he knows when he gets there, the world will already be compliant under the rule of a Primarch who then looks at him as a father. That's what we do. Guys, you're amazing. You're amazing. I literally posed that question and I sat there and thought, hang on, this is actually pretty hard. How are we going to do this? And you solved it. Bang, like that. You gave me the thing to jump off from. I'm going to jump off and there we are. That's brilliant. So we've solved it. That's that. That's where the Primarchs went. Dude, J-Day, I like that idea as well. Chair Gorak is behind the scattering of the Primarchs. That is true. That could be true. But no, I like what we ended up with. I like how we ended up with that. The Emperor knows there are worlds out there that he needs badly. And he needs them now. He can't afford to let them be subject to an alien invasion or something. You know what I mean? So he sends his Primarchs out there, and they go and conquer those worlds for him without even knowing it, right? They're already hypnotized and brainwashed into doing what the Emperor wants, right? Yeah. That explains Magnus's communication with the Emperor the whole time. Yeah. Going the Saiyan route is perfect. Yeah, I think so too. Alright. The Primarchs are off of Terra. Okay. Great Crusade time. Here we go. Here's the biggie. Vote in the chat. Can I do that here? Can I do that? Yeah, start a poll. Let's start a poll. Alright. Is Alfarius the first found Primarch in secret? Go. Is Alfarius the first found Primarch in secret? Okay. I'll let you vote for a minute or two. We'll have a little break. So the Emperor's the Emperor now. You know? Zach, I'm going to come to that in a second. I am changing some of the homeworlds of the Primarchs. Yeah. I'm probably gonna have Lorgar land on Molech. You know? Or Horus. Lorgar or Horus is gonna land on Molech. That's gonna be his their homeworld. One of them anyway. We'll get there in a minute. Right, Noah's winning so far. Noah's winning so far. Casual Kraken said, I played 40k for 16 years. I just don't care about the lore anymore. GW doesn't care, so why should I? That's a good break question, right? So while the poll is going on, let's answer that question, right? You should care because you enjoy it. Okay? This is what I've said all along. Cut Games Workshop out of your hobby. Games Workshop don't get a say in what we're doing here right now, do they? Right? They do not get a say at all. So that's what you do. You just cut them out. And if you enjoy it, Casual Kraken, that's all you need. That's all the justification you need to do it. Because you enjoy it. Bollocks to what they think. And bollocks to what they do. Alfarius is a whole big thing we're going to have to do. I know, man. He is a canker, isn't he? Lorgar lands in a black hole by accident, maybe? No. We're not doing that. I love Lorgy. Leave him alone. Because toys with the story are more interesting. I agree. I only play OPR and Battletech now. That's fine, man. That's fine. That's fine. But you're still on a 40k lore live stream, Casual Kraken. Does that not say a lot? And I'm not even a very big channel. Do you know what I mean? You like 40k, man. Come on, admit it. You like 40k. What if Malkador sends the Primarchs out to keep the few that could see the Emperor for what he really is hidden? Good idea, but it complicates the issue. I like to keep these issues nice and simple. We can complicate things later on. No felines. No, getting rid of those. We're getting rid of those. They're already in the sun. Okay, alright. So, No has one out. Is Alfarius the first found Primarch in secret? Noah's one out. I'm going to vote for yes. But I would still only say my vote counts for 10%, right? So it'd still be... yeah, No would still win. No would still win, let's be honest. So... He is not the first found Primarch. He is out there in the warp somewhere. We'll get to him a bit later on. That's fine. That's fine. So, we are keeping Horus as the first found Primarch. And I think... Okay, here's next poll. We'll end that poll. Here's next poll. Start the next poll. Right. Who is... from Molech, Lorgar, or Horus? Alright. Who is from Molech, Lorgar, or Horus? Now, for those of you who don't know, Molech is the world where there is a rather large chaos portal where you can go and speak to the dark gods. It is somewhere where you can actually go and get powered up. That's what Horus did, right? He went into the portal, got powered up, and he's on Emperor level power up after he's gone there, right? It appears in the book Vengeful Spirit. Pretty good book, in my estimation. I enjoyed it. And it's about Horus basically getting that power up and going down to Molech and getting more chaos powers. So we are using it as the base of operations of one of the two people who started the Horus heresy, Lorgar or Horus. So, wasn't Lorgar from Cultus? Yes, he was. But he's not in the Exileverse. Remember, this isn't 40k. This is our version of 40k. We're retelling it. We're retelling the Emperor's story. We're not doing every Primarch now. We're doing the Emperor. Right? We're doing the Emperor. But we're doing things that are relative to the Emperor. And who is on Molech is definitely a big thing to who the Emperor is. Alright, I'm going to give you another couple of seconds and then we're going to close that poll. Lorgar's winning by a landslide here. Wow. I like Lorgar, so I'm not complaining. We'll get to 20 votes. We're on 18 votes right now, so it's 19 votes. One more vote, and we'll close it. There we go. End poll. So, Lorgar wins the vote with 70% of the vote to Horus's 30%. So, Lorgar is on Molech. That's where he is. So when he's sent out by the Emperor, it is Lorgar who is sent to secure the portal to the gods of chaos. Right? That is the person who was sent there to do that. Lorgar got 69%, lol. Yeah, I know. Right? So, there are lots of religious things on Molech, of course. And Lorgar becomes a priest king, of course, you know. Horus is the first found primarch, as we are in 40k, just as we are in 30k. He's the first found primarch. He becomes close to the Emperor as his first found son, and they're together for 30-40 years. And it is Horus who accompanies the Emperor to Molech. Lorgar is the second found primarch, not Leman Russ. I never got why it was Leman Russ. It just struck me as weird, right? He's not somebody who needs to be second, right? So, Lorgar does worship the Emperor, yes. Yes. But did it ever strike you as weird that the Emperor, when he met Lorgar, didn't mind being worshipped, and then all of a sudden, you know, a couple of hundred years later, he's really insulted by it and destroys Monarchia, and basically forces Lorgar to go over to Chaos, right? Do you think that's weird? I do, right? I think that's really weird. So in the Exile verse, I think the Emperor's going to go to Molech, and because what Lorgar has done is make Molech worship the Emperor, he's like, well, I know there's a big chaos, you know, portal here. At least they're worshipping me and not them. Right? That's what he's going to be thinking, you know? So, he goes in to talk to the Chaos Gods. He gets whatever he needs to fuck them off, and he leaves, right? And he leaves with Lorgar. The word bearers are now the Imperial Heralds, or whatever they are, the bearers of the word of the Emperor. And the Lunar Wolves are like the Emperor's, you know, killing machines, and the Dark Angels are there too, but they're the Angels of Death right now. He goes and finds the Primarchs now. Now, what order they are in, we can sort out another time, right? But the two main ones are Horus first, then Lorgar, because we need to secure Molech. Molech needs to be secured. Okay? So, the Emperor knows exactly where he can't sense the... I hated this, you know, he can sense the Primarchs out there in the galaxy. No, man. No. He's going to these worlds because he knows where they are. He knows where they are. So he goes out there and finds the Primarchs one by one, right? That's what I would do. Jumping ahead, says Matty. But perhaps all Primarchs are part of the Emperor's soul. Same as Chaos Demons. When he destroys Horus' soul, he destroys part of himself, causing his own injury. Dude, that's like... Wow. Yeah, man, that's really cool. I like that. Blackstone Chapter Master said, hey, I'm not sure if you remember me. I'm the guy who accidentally outdid my friend's boyfriend for his birthday, Magnus the Red. At work, so can't say much right now. No problem, man. Thank you for sending that in. I do remember. Angron doesn't get the butcher's nails. Oh, we'll get to that. We'll get to that in another week. We'll get to that. I think we're going to do the Primarchs in 3 videos, right? We'll do 9 in one video, 9 in another video, and then we'll do an entire video on the 2 lost Primarchs. Yeah? That's what we'll do. Primarchs next week. A list of Primarchs next week. So Primarchs 1 through 10 next week. Apart from 2, of course, because it doesn't exist. Alright, so the Emperor has gone out into the Great Crusade. And I would say from here, what we've done, guys, is we've tidied up the Emperor. We've tidied up the Emperor's story. We've made it make a lot more sense, right? We've kept the ambiguity. We've kept the mystery of who he is. You know? We've added a lot of intrigue as well. But we've got the Emperor from A to B now. The end of the Great Crusade is where we are. I don't mind the Great Crusade happening as it happened. I think the Great Crusade era is really cool. I think it's really, really cool. Like, I like the way that they did it, you know? So I'm okay leaving that as it is. Is everybody okay leaving it as it is? I'm going to do another poll. Start poll. Great Crusade from Molech to... what was Armageddon called? What was Armageddon called? What was it called? Armageddon World 40k. What was it called? All in all. There we go. All in all. To all in all. There we go. Great Crusade from Molech. That's where we're starting. Where Lorgar is found. To Ullanor is the same. Do we proceed or do we back off? And if we are backing off, you need to explain in the chat why we're backing off and why we're looking at something else again. Because personally, I like the Great Crusade era. I think it's cool, you know, and we can figure out who was found first, second, third, fourth in the Primarch videos. We know who's found first, and that was Horus, and Lorgar was found second. What if the Emperor found Ferrus Manus on Mars? I think that's an amazing... Dude. Fucking amazing idea. Yeah. Perturabo, make a note of that. Make a note of that somewhere. Next time. Next time. Ferrus Manus, man. Yeah, he's on Mars. Yes, I've got it. I've got it. I've got it. The Emperor doesn't fight the Void Dragon. Ferrus Manus does. And that's where he gets the molten arms from. Because he kills it in like a lava pit or something on Mars. Don't know why there's lava. Fuck it. There's lava, right? And he... Yeah. Dude. Dude, we are cooking. We are fucking cooking. This is awesome. This is awesome. Make a note of that idea. What an idea that is. Alright, I'm going to end the poll there. Because it's pretty much all... Yeah. 89%, 88%. Yes, we are proceeding. That is good. That is good. Alright. Alright. Yeah, Ferrus would probably need to be found third. Yeah, Ferrus Manus probably needs to be found third. Yes. Yes. What if the Emperor was an Empress the entire time? No. No, I'm not going with that. Mainly because I don't want to. No, I don't mind. Again, we're going to get to this before the end of the episode, right? We'll get to that before the end of the episode. So the Horus heresy happens. Okay? The Emperor goes back to Earth to essentially work on the Webway project, because he wants humanity to be shorn away from the warp, and wants us to be able to travel without using the warp, and to separate us from the gods of chaos. Now, we're not going to go into the reasons why the Horus heresy happens now, because that will come up in the Primarch videos. I'm okay with the Horus heresy progressing as it does for its main parts. What I mean by that is that the main issues of the Horus heresy, right? The main spine of it is Lorgar turns the chaos. Yeah? Lorgar corrupts Horus. Okay? It never really got to me, like, why did Horus turn traitor? But if Horus and Lorgar are really close, like you know, if Horus and Lorgar are as close as Sanguinius and Horus, that makes a lot more sense. You know? If Horus is feeling abandoned by the Emperor, it makes a lot more sense for him to turn to Chaos if Lorgar's helping him and they're closer than the Emperor and Horus are, right? Yeah? That's what I'd do. And Relics of War, oh, you were here from the start, man. Maybe you went elsewhere. But no, we are remaking the Emperor of Mankind for our version of Warhammer 40k. So, I would have Lorgar corrupts Horus, because those two are really close. And Horus then sets about with Lorgar corrupting the brothers that he can corrupt. His best friends, essentially, to come over with him. Okay? So, traitors, by and large, remain the same. Loyalists, by and large, remain the same. And we go from there. Pretty much boycott Warhammer, yes. But we'll get into that with Lorgar's video when we do Lorgar, alright? So, Horus Heresy comes to Terra. Emperor fights Horus on the Vengeful Spirit and kills Horus, but gets installed on the Golden Throne, right? Okay. Now. The Emperor goes onto the Golden Throne. Okay. Let me do this. One of our last polls. Are we changing much about the Emperor's Dark King? Storyline. So, for those of you who don't know, the Dark King storyline is essentially the Emperor has the chance to become the 5th Chaos God in the Horus Heresy novels, right? That's where we are. If we change it, what are we doing with it? We need to decide what we're doing with it, or are we leaving it alone? The Emperor essentially casts out all of his compassion and goodness because he can't bring himself to kill Horus. So he casts all of that out into the warp for the chance to be able to kill Horus. And he rejects the opportunity to become the Dark King, to become the next Chaos God. So. Okay. If we are changing it, then I want ideas in the chat. We can't just say yes and then leave it there. We've got to say yes because. Right? I pretty much know why we're changing it if we are going to change it. Well, you know, the perpetuals, yeah, that might be a good thing. But I think it kind of works without the perpetuals. So, yeah, I think it works without the perpetuals. We can just remove them. Do you think the Alpha Legion is now being flanderized to the point where they are just a writer's tool to get a get out of jail free card? Yeah. I think so. I think so, man. I think that they're exhausting to read about and kind of pointless to read about now. Like they are so counterintuitive as a legion that they are literally, you know, it's beyond silly. Like reading a Alpha Legion books, kind of, you're asking yourself to get a headache, you know? Can't change that because it goes too hard. Okay. Am I going to get a casting vote here? Because it's 50-50 right now. If you want to make a difference, click on that poll. It's 50-50. Or I'm going to click on it. Or clicking it in my own head anyway. And choose one of them. Someone will have to stop, kill, or maim the Emperor. Maybe he partially ascends to kill Horus. Then someone mortally wounds him, and he has to sit on the throne. Good idea. Good idea. I think Boycott Warhammer Plus has got a good idea there. Okay. We'll end the poll there then. We'll end the poll there. 50-50. But I will now take your counsel on board. I think Boycott Warhammer's got a very good idea. And yeah, I think also Zach has got a very good idea too. We shouldn't change it, given his overall importance to the Horus, to Chaos versus humanity. He uses fire to fight fire. So, let's say that the Dark King thing stays in there, and the Emperor uses some of that power to basically get rid of Horus, right? But in doing so, using Matty's thing, you know, a part of the Emperor's soul is in there, so he kind of screws himself over. Horus mortally wounds his flesh anyway, so he can die. As we said before, he can die. And so now he goes onto the Golden Throne. Right, cool. Alright. Okay. Fast forward 10,000 years. So the Emperor's now on the Golden Throne. We fast forward 10,000 years. Okay? We fast forward 10,000 years. What kind of... So, are we going to... Listen, let's just do it. Let's just do it, right? Here's the big poll. The last poll of the night. Are we bringing the Emperor back in 40k? Go. Now, this decides where we go for the final question. Because we know with the Emperor now, we put him on the Golden Throne. We got him all the way from his birth to being on the Golden Throne. And now we skip 10,000 years because, obviously, he's on the Golden Throne. Do we bring back the Emperor eventually in our version of Warhammer 40,000? It doesn't mean we do it straight away. Alright? It doesn't mean we do it straight away. I'm saying eventually. Do we bring him back? Eventually. Yeah. I would let the Emperor be around for, on the Golden Throne for a long time. I'm talking by the year 2030, in real life, do we bring the Emperor back in our version of 40k? Or does he remain on the Golden Throne forever? Okay, what's the point of the Emperor sacrifice himself if he can just bring him back? Well, he's been gone for 10,000 years, and his entire empire's gone to shit. And he's been in agony that entire time, so it was a hell of a self-sacrifice, to be fair. Yes, but not as a tabletop model. I'll go along with that. I'll go along with that. Thank you, Ben, for becoming a member. Thank you. Does he ever get Throne Dome in that period? Soulless cash grab or integrity play? No, we don't do cash here. This isn't about selling models. This is about coolness. What will be cooler? Yes, via the Star Child. That idea was good and fun. Okay. Thunder Warriors, do we keep them or does Big E kill them? Please let me know. Okay, we'll do that in a minute. We'll do... remind me in a second. We'll do a one last sweep up to make sure all the ideas are done properly. With all the increasing insurmountable hopelessness in the current setting, a return for the Emperor wouldn't even swing it to nullify the theme of impending/suspended doom. Might be what it needs. I agree. It wouldn't win the setting if the Emperor came back. People who say that, it comes across as very short-sighted. Like, the Emperor wouldn't fix all the problems if he came back. There were problems in the 40k universe when the Emperor was there walking around, right? Space Marines were dying in droves whilst he was there. You know? Oh, Dustpaw, that's dark. He regains consciousness but still can't leave the throne. My god. The Emperor comes back, but it turned out to be Alpharius the whole time. I would go along with what Boycott Warhammer's saying there about the Thunder Warriors. Okay. We'll end the poll there. So, yes. Yes, 58%. No, 42%. The Emperor is coming back in 40k, eventually, in the Exileverse. Eventually. I'm going to say not for a while. Hey, Dave, you alright, mate? I'm going to say not for a while, in terms of the Emperor coming back, right? So now I want ideas. The Emperor's coming back. How? And why? How and why is the Emperor returning to the mortal coil? I'll explain my idea, right? And then you guys can tell me whether it's good or bad, or whether you want it to happen or not, okay? Or whether you want to amend it, we can do that too. Or even just chuck it out, we can do that as well. So my idea for bringing the Emperor back was something that's already in the current setting. And that is the Terminus Decree. That is a decree that the Grey Knights have to essentially, what we think it is, what it's heavily hinted as being, to shut down the Golden Throne and kill the Emperor's mortal remains. That is what is heavily signposted as the Terminus Decree being, right? So, I would have the Tyranids be about to win Warhammer 40,000. I would have them come in such numbers and straight towards Terra that everything's going to go wrong. Everyone's going to die, right? And Kaldor Drago appears on Terra, strides into the throne room, as the Grandmaster of the Grey Knights would do. The Supreme Grandmaster of the Grey Knights would be escorted to the Emperor, demands an audience with the Emperor, and enacts the Terminus Decree. And in doing that, he shuts down the Golden Throne. The Astronomicon goes out. It just flickers outwards. Doop! Gone. Right? Panic ensues. Absolute bedlam ensues. You know, worlds go dark across the Imperium. Shit is hitting the fan. Everybody's dead, Dave. Right? One of those situations. Drago then removes, with reverence, he removes the Emperor's mortal remains with the Custodian Guard, who are there to help him, from the Golden Throne. He then sits in the Golden Throne and sits back and basically attunes himself to the Golden Throne. So he sits on it. And the Astronomicon comes back on. Much weaker, but it's there. And you can see it. Yeah? And the gateway to hell, to chaos, right, to the warp, is closed. Held closed by Drago. Everybody's looking around going, well, what happens to the Emperor now? Well, the Emperor's body starts to knit itself together right in front of them. It starts to regenerate and come back. As this happens, you know, Abaddon the Despoiler can be there. Like, he's assaulting Terra through the Tyranids, desperate to kill the Emperor now whilst he's there and to get rid of the Golden Throne, right? All that's happening. The Emperor slowly reknits and eventually stands back up. Right? And let's just have him be just bollock naked. Why not? He stands up and he's, you know, pulsing with muscle, like he's all there. He's the Emperor, right? But he's only Primarch sized. And he radiates a lot of power, but only the same amount of power that, say, Magnus the Red used to exude, right? He walks over to Drago and, you know, touches his head and says, right, okay. Right, I'm back. And turns round. He says, where's my armour? Where is my armour? Right, time to save my world. And he goes out there and leads the fight back. He leads the Custodian Guard in taking back Terra from the Tyranids. And then drives back the Black Legion, right? But here is the thing. Do you guys remember earlier when we said, you know, the Emperor, we're going to keep the Dark King thing where the Emperor threw away a lot of his compassion, right? That hasn't come back. Yeah? That hasn't come back. The person who's come back from the Golden Throne is not the Emperor that sat on the Golden Throne. It is a much darker version. This is the Emperor that basically killed Horus. Ruthless, pragmatic, and he's had 10,000 years of sheer torture in the warp where all he has heard is that he is a god. And that's the only thing that's been keeping him alive and that's been empowering him all of this time. So this figure actually thinks he's a god, right? That would be a really, really cool way of going about it. Thank you very much. Yeah, so this figure actually believes he's a god. Okay, and we have a much, much darker emperor walking around at this point. He leads the ecclesiarchy. He leads the imperial cult. He leads the Adeptus Sororitas, the Ordo Hereticus. Most of the Inquisition is sworn over to him. He leads the High Lords of Terror. All of the old, grim-dark, John Blanchian parts of Warhammer 40,000 are his purview. That is the Emperor's purview. And he starts leading a reconquest of the Imperium from Terra. So he starts pushing outwards, pushing back the Black Legion, pushing back the Tyranids, right? And starts reclaiming a smaller empire within an empire, sort of a thing. Guilliman learns of this and is like, hell no, that ain't my father. He wasn't like that. I don't know who this stranger is, but he's not my father. That's not what he was like, you know? And so, he declares Imperium Secundus. He declares, no, that is not that, whatever that thing is, it's not the Emperor, it's not my father, right? Ultramar's on its own, and we are now the Imperium, okay? So now you have two separate powers on opposite sides of the galaxy coming towards each other. And a civil war is inevitable. And that is where that is the status quo for the next 5 to 10 years of the hobby, right? A civil war is inevitable between these two sides that will eventually happen. And in the north, we have Imperium Nihilus, which is like a no man's land under Dante and under the Blood Angels that, you know, both sides are chewing away at. Okay? And Guilliman's side of the galaxy is very much for the Mil-Sim fans. It's for people who like modern 40k. If you like Primaris Marines, you know, if you really like Primaris Marines, you like Guilliman's side, that you can go over there and collect that. But if you're like me and you like the old grim dark style of 40k, the cathedrals, everything like that, the Emperor's side of the galaxy is what you want to be on. That's how I would bring the Emperor back, okay? He is still not powered to the point that he is the Emperor, right? He's using up a lot of his power to maintain Drago on the Golden Throne. He gave up a good portion of his power to the throne itself, so that the next person to sit on it, even if he's not as powerful as Psyker, can actually use the Golden Throne. Because Magnus was always supposed to be the one sitting on it. This was the plan all along, right? The Emperor was supposed to sit on the Golden Throne until Magnus could sit on it for him, right? And it would have happened a lot sooner, because Magnus was a lot more powerful than Drago. But the Grey Knights were a contingency plan to breed the ultimate Psyker. The ultimate anti-chaos Psyker who can then sit on the Golden Throne. And Drago's exile in the warp was all a ploy, all along, by the Emperor, who manoeuvred things to make sure that you had to go into the warp and become more and more and more powerful. To beef him up. And that's where we are now, right? That's what I would do with the Emperor. And that's how I would bring him back, if we are bringing him back, alright? Okay. Alright. What are we thinking about that? Are you guys happy with that? Do we go with North's Emperor return? And remember, if not, you must explain why. Do we go with North's Emperor return? Yeah, I mean, you could have an Emperor model at this stage, because he's not as powerful as the Emperor was, right? He's a faded version of the Emperor. He's put a load of his power into the Golden Throne to make it usable by somebody who's not him, right? And if Abaddon the Despoiler can fail 13 times and still somehow win, the Emperor can have some machinations, some massive plot that he's been doing this entire time, right? If Magnus was always supposed to sit on the Golden Throne, but he's nowhere near as powerful as the Emperor, how would that have worked? You know what I mean? How would that have worked? Obviously, the Emperor needs to change the Golden Throne using his own power to augment it, so that Magnus can sit on it instead of him, and then he can rule his empire walking around it, right? The reason why it's taken 10,000 years is because Drago is nowhere near as powerful as Magnus. So it's taken a lot more of the Emperor's power to maintain the Golden Throne and to make sure that it doesn't just overload Drago when he gets on it, right? So we make it clear why and how the Emperor has returned. Maybe the Emperor even explains it verbatim and says, listen, this is what happened, you know? And maybe a lot of people don't believe him. That'd be cool, right? There are massive purges on Terra because a lot of people like the Emperor's return. That's heresy. No, I would have him have black armor, Traitor Guardsman. He wouldn't be gold. He'd have black armor edged with gold, but it would be black first. Black and a bit of gold. Maybe boycott Warhammer. Maybe. Ah, Zacharias. Now, here's the thing. Who's to say that there isn't a shard of the Emperor in the warp that will come back that way? Who's to say? Who's to say? The Emperor becomes a digger knob. We already have one plot armored super being in the Imperium. We don't need another. Again, who's to say I'm keeping this Emperor around? We may kill him off. We may kill Guilliman off. I would do this with this proviso, right? If we have the Emperor on one side and Guilliman on the other, one of them's got to go. Eventually. One of them's got to go. I would say that. It won't be soon, but one of them has to go. We need to grow a pair of bulls in the Exileverse. One of them's going to go. You know? Alright. We'll get to 20 votes and then we'll call it there. As the Emperor's return. I'm honestly surprised you guys went with this. I thought we'd be getting like a lot of people going, no, that sucks. We're going to go do something else. Like, I think it works. I think it's quite elegant as a solution. It is very convoluted, but the Emperor's story is convoluted. So why should his ending not be convoluted? Do you know what I mean? So, in our end game 40k, and this isn't the end times, by the way, it's just the next big era of Warhammer 40,000. Will be, yeah, okay, we've got 20, so we'll end it there. So we are sticking with the Emperor coming back in that form. And how we just explained it, right? So the Emperor comes back. And we are doing a Eastern Western Roman Empire style Imperium. And the Emperor's like, Guilliman, you need to bend the knee. Guilliman's like, go fuck yourself, you're not my father. Right? Whatever you are, you're a warp entity, you're not my father. Is what you are. And they're going to fight eventually. So at the end of our next big cycle, so the first big cycle of 40k, right, was getting to the Great Rift. From the start of the hobby to the Great Rift. 30 years, right? The next great cycle, I would say, 15 years. Should be the Great Rift until the Emperor returns. 15 years. Take us to around 2030. The next great cycle after that should be the Emperor and Guilliman slowly going towards each other in a civil war. With Abaddon being there as well, and with Dante being there as well, and all of these other factions fighting, yeah, should be there as well. Right? That's the end of the third cycle of 40k. And at the end of the third cycle of 40k, one of them has to go. So at that stage, it's up to the fans and the designers to decide what kind of a game Warhammer 40,000 is going to be. Is it going to be more grimdark, or is it going to be more milsim, you know, modern tactics, Gilliman style sort of a thing? Yeah. And again, 15 years is a long time. So you can take your time, and even if you get to the end of that 15-year cycle, if things are going well, just spin it out, dude. Just keep going. If the models are selling and there's no reason to move it on, fucking go again. Just give it another 10 years. There's no hard and fast rules here, you know? But make it more grim. I agree. I think the Emperor should win in the end. You know, the Emperor should win in the end. He should kill Gilliman in the end. And there should be somebody else coming up who replaces Gilliman. Right? Maybe Titus or someone. Is the Beast Arises lore still canon? Yes, everything in that 10,000 years, pretty much still canon. Yeah. Yeah, we haven't touched anything yet. What about bringing in Fabius Bile instead of Belisarius Cole? We will get to that in the Gilliman video. We will get to that. We will get to that. This is about the Emperor, mainly. And the Primarchs Marines, as much as they are made of his flesh, technically, they're not really about the Emperor. They're more about Gilliman's story than the Emperor's, do you know what I mean? Can you imagine the Black Templars if the Emperor came back? They'd all jizz their pants, like in unison. Anyway, that's where we're going with the Emperor then. We're happy with that. Alright, we're happy with that. I'm going to carry on the live stream, but say goodbye to people on YouTube. Goodbye, people on YouTube. We've sorted the Emperor now. He is back in the Exileverse eventually. But that's in the future. We've taken him from his birth all the way through to his return. Getting off the Golden Throne. So, we'll see you next time. Have a good one. Bye now. Alright. You guys have starred in a Northern Exile video. There you go. Happy days. Happy fucking days. Oh. Christ. It's hard to talk for that long. Jesus. It is hard to talk for that long. I'm not going anywhere just yet. I've just finished recording. So there we go. Fucking adverts, dude. Just want some good music. Anyway, it doesn't matter. So there we are. So the Emperor's like the hardest bit, man. I swear to God. The Emperor was the hardest bit of this entire thing. Once we got the Emperor sorted out, which we have, everything else should kind of, you know, fall by the wayside and be a lot easier. It should be a lot easier. So, that's good. I think, you know, having the Primarchs and different things, that should all come out a lot easier. How would the Emperor react to the Imperial cult? Dude, he'd love it. Like, if the Emperor we're bringing back sees the Imperial cult, he'd love that. It's right up his alley, because he thinks he's a god. That's why Gilliman hates him, because the real Emperor back in the day never thought he was a god. Gilliman can't accept that the Emperor's changed. That's the issue, right? It's kind of tragic in a way. You know, it is tragic in a way. Like, Gilliman can't actually accept that the Emperor's a changed man. Like, he's not the guy he knew. And you know why that's cool? Because we've all been there. We've all had people in our lives where, you know, you say to yourself, you're literally not the man I knew. And that's a shame, you know? Well, imagine that being your father who you've not seen for a long time. And he comes back and he's like, that's not the guy you knew. That would suck. So, like, at that stage, the Imperial Civil War is kind of tragic. It's really, really tragic. It's a son bemoaning or, you know, really unhappy that his father's not the guy he once was. You know? 40k needs more human stories. It really does. It needs more human stories. The reason why people love Hell's Reach and guys like that, you know, Helbrecht and people like that, the reason why that's the case is literally because it's a human story and it makes the Black Templars very human. The more human stories we have in Warhammer 40,000, I think that the better the entire hobby is. I really do. I really do. And I think at the heart of the Exile verse that we're writing together, that needs to be the core modus operandi. Do you know what I mean? It needs to be human stories in Warhammer 40,000. Thank you very much, Sam Davidson. Thank you very much for the 199, sir. You are a scholar and a gentleman. Thank you. The Alpha Legion have their third way, but at what cost? Yeah. 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 Yeah, Traitor Guardsman. Yeah, I've dug my grave. I'm going to die on this planet. That's cool, man. Yeah, I love it. I love Hell's Reach. That's my next listen on Audible. Is Hell's Reach. Can't wait. Cannot wait. As soon as I get my next credit, it's going on Hell's Reach. I really wanted to listen to Spears of the Emperor. Now, please don't jump down my throat when I say this, right? I wanted to listen to Spears of the Emperor, but it's narrated by a woman. Yeah. And there's something about a woman doing a Space Marine's voice. Like, no. No. It's wrong. You know? I don't know. It's just wrong. You know, Jonathan Keeble does an amazing job. And if I ever find him, I would want him to do the... I've been trying to find his agent for ages. Because I want him to narrate. I want to pay him to narrate our lore video for the Exiled Blades. Can you imagine getting Jonathan Keeble to do like a 2-hour video read through of the lore that I wrote with images behind it and stuff? Man, oh man. See, you've taken it the wrong way there, Matthias. What I mean is, it just sounds wrong, right? It just sounds wrong. Like having a woman narrate the Carrion Throne, the Sister of Silence, that was brilliant. She was amazing, right? Because she's playing a female character. It was amazing, right? And again, I don't know why I find it okay for a guy to do like a woman's voice, but I think it's because... You know, a lot of these books are told by the male perspective, so it kind of works. But, like, having a Space Marine have a very high voice just doesn't work with me. Same thing Jonathan Keeble does with certain Primarchs. Like Lorgar. Like, Lorgar talks like this, and he's very effeminate, and he's, I like to pray, Right, that's how he sounds. It's like, come on. No, he's not supposed to sound like that. Like, just... Primarchs are still, like, deep-throated, man. He's a Primarch. But Jonathan Keeble... is still a really good narrator. And if you want to know how good he is, go and listen to Gotrek and Felix. Gotrek and Felix is god tier voice acting by Jonathan Keeble. You know? Yeah. So if I can get his I think he'd do it. Like I think, don't get me wrong, I think he'd do it, man. Like if I could get in contact and lay out a price or get a price from him, I'll definitely do it. Fucking amazing. The other guy I would like to do is the Night Lord Omnibus. What was his name? Andrew Wincott. That was his name, Andrew Wincott. So when I was playing Baldur's Gate 3 and Raphael started talking, I was like, oh my god, it's Telos! It's the Night Lords! It's him! He's such a good voice. And I've got to do this now, right? So Night Lords audio book sample. I think this is it. Let me just, I think this is it.
Reaction was mixed.
No, not that one. Not that one. I fucking hate it. No, what's his name? Andrew Wincott. Andrew Wincott. Night Lords. Sample.
We failed. We stand in the dust at the end of centuries of useless sin and endless failure. The Legion was poisoned, and we sacrificed an entire world to cleanse it. It is not enough. We are the sons of the only primarch to hate his own Legion. There again we failed. We swore vengeance on the Imperium, yet we run from every battle where we don't possess overwhelming force over a crippled enemy. We fail again and again and again. I want vengeance against a galaxy that hates us. I want Imperial worlds to cower when we draw near. I want the weeping of this Empire's souls to reach all the way to Holy Terra, and the sound of suffering will choke the corpse god on his throne of gold. We failed.
So yeah, the music there was fucking cancer. I hate it when people do that, but that's what he sounds like. The dude's a god. Like, the dude is a god. I didn't like Baldur's Gate 3, Ed. Yeah, but I did play through it once to form an opinion, and he was like the only good part that I liked. was that character. But yeah, good stuff. Absolutely good stuff. Right, I think I'm gonna leave it there. We've had a good night, so I'm gonna go chill for a bit. I'm gonna go do my own thing. Have a cup of tea. But I will speak to you soon. We'll be back next week, where we're going to do... next week we'll be doing Primarchs 1 through 10. So if you want to come back for that, that'll be cool. Next Sunday, we'll do Primarchs 1 through 10, not including the Lost Primarchs. And then I'll be back tomorrow with some more Hobby Nightmares. What is the current Hobby Nightmare for tomorrow? Let me have a little look-see here. Let me have a little look-see. I think it is... Why is Magic the Gathering so toxic, or is it? And a veteran's view on Games Workshop's downfall. That will be tomorrow in Hobby Nightmares. Alright, so I'll see you then. And I'll see you next week for another live stream. And maybe in the week we'll do another live stream where we do some gameplay. Different bits like that. We'll see. Anyway, see you then. Have a good one. Bye now.